Hi, this is Kyle Schwarber, and welcome to the Phillies Show.
Hey everybody, Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zwilicki. It's the Phillies Show. It's Monday, May 12th, 2025. Guys, I hope you're doing well. I hope everybody out there enjoyed their Mother's Day weekend.
Lovely.
Ruben, you were working?
Yeah, I was working Mommy's Day, and
Yeah.
I'm on the IL. I'm okay, but I'm on the IL. I tripped over a bar stool, not drunk. Tripped over a bar stool and had to brace myself and blew out my left calf. So I'm hobbling around like a 29 million-year-old.
Wow.
How'd you do that? You're just not paying
Dude.
attention?
No, I was paying attention, but my toe caught the tip of like the bar stool leg, and as I was actually getting ready to fall, and then I braced myself on my foot, and it just literally blew out my calf.
No.
Yeah, at first I thought I blew out my Achilles, but thank God I did not.
Wow.
So it was ridiculous.
Where were you? Down
It
the
happened in Cleveland. It was in
it wasn't in Cleveland.
what bar it was. Something in Brewer. I don't know.
Now, did anybody, the worst part about falling, of course, is all of the people that see you. Did anybody see you that?
Nobody saw me do it. Somebody saw me stumble, but no one really saw. I mean, no one really noticed anything except when it happened, I felt like my leg felt like it was blowing up.
Oh,
So I was like, and I tried to play it off like, I'm okay.
You kind of do the somersault out of it. You jump up like, hey, yeah.
I actually didn't fall. I just sort of stumbled. I didn't go down.
Right.
And had I gone down, it'd probably been better because then I wouldn't have braced myself and blown it out. But dope.
How's that gonna affect your burgeoning pickleball career?
And my golf game right now. I'm done for a while. Done.
Really?
No.
Oh yeah, I will not be playing for at least a couple of weeks. The Philly trainers have been helping me out with some devices and some stuff and some drugs and stuff. But bueno.
You got to get in the oxygen chamber, Ruben.
Right.
Just pick up one of those, ship it to
Right.
the house.
I'll just ship it.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're a speedy recovery to you.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. I figured I'd let you guys know.
Yeah.
I need a little sympathy, love.
We'll send plenty your way. We're sending plenty your way. The
Phillies
Phillies,
like a 900-year-old.
well, the Phillies had a much better weekend, Ruben, than your calf did. They take 2 out of 3 in Cleveland against the Guardians. They lose the series opener on Friday. Win Saturday easily. Sunday night, it was the Kyle Schwarber, Zack Wheeler show. The Phillies have now won, I think it's 5 consecutive series since they were swept in New York, and everybody said the season was over, blow up the team, sell, this guy stinks, that guy stinks. They're 11-3 since they lost that Friday night series opener in Chicago. They're 11-3. That's the best record in baseball since then. I think that's since April 26th. They're playing well. Ruben, you were there for all of it.
Yeah, no, they've played really good baseball, really good pitching, man. That starting pitching, outstanding. Coming up with some big hits. It's really been a team effort. Their defense has been much better. They played like the whole piece of the game. Base running blunders every once in a while. But almost all of the pieces of the game that you need to play well to win, they're doing it right now. Like their defense, like their pitching, timely hitting generally. It was not an easy go in Cleveland, and that's a good baseball team. They played really, really good baseball, and was talking to Stephen Vogt, who's the manager, outstanding manager for the Cleveland Indians, 9 million times. But he made a great point about that Central Division there. All of those teams play really good, sound baseball. No huge names. I mean, they have good players. Some of them have good players. But you talk about Detroit, Kansas City, and the Cleveland Guardians, and they all play good, sound, fundamental baseball. They pitch, they catch it, they move runners, they make contact, they do the things that are necessary to win. That's one of the reasons why that division, those guys are winning. You can out baseball teams. You don't, and that's exactly what they're doing. And right now, the Phillies are out baseballing some teams as well.
That's a really good point. I mean, you have to play that way That's a division that's full of kind of medium-sized markets without killer through-the-roof payrolls. You better play sound baseball, and you better get sound baseball players capable of playing that way. You see that in that division. You mentioned defense, Ruben. I mean, this was a great trip for the Phillies. 5-1. That's a great trip. Finally completed a sweep in Tampa the other night. Against the Rays, but how we always talk about it's the plays you don't make. It's not always the errors that kill you. It's the ball you don't get to. It's the play you don't make. It's the extra 90 feet you give up. To me, the key to that sweep, or the key to getting that final victory in Tampa, was that play by Trey Turner. Was the bottom of the 8th, I think. Kept that ball. It was an infield hit. Keeps it in front of him, keeps it in the infield, and freezes that runner at third base. And that was just huge. It allowed them, it kept it a 1-run game so they could come back. I mean, it still shows up as a hit, but it was a great defensive play. And we've been hard on Trey Turner. I thought that was a really outstanding, maybe at least in the Tampa portion of that trip, kind of the defensive player of that series, and it allowed them to get out of there, allowed them to rally, and kept the window open for them to rally. And was just a huge play in that sweep.
And anecdotally, I mean, he had made a play that he almost completed. I think he bounced a throw earlier in the game and couldn't complete the out. And after the game, I actually said something to him when we were walking out of the ballpark or something like that. I said, "Hey, man, that was a hell of a play." And he turned around and went like, "What?" I bounced the throw. I go, no. I'm talking about the play that you cut that ball off and didn't allow that extra run to score, and it kept the game in hand. Yep. And he's done a lot of things. His whole game has really picked up. Obviously, offensively, he's been ridiculous. Some multi-hit games, pretty much every single, and setting the table. But the defense has been improved as well.
So we got to talk Kyle Schwarber. We got to talk Zack Wheeler. We got to talk about the rest of the weekend, and it is all coming up right after these words.
This is a straightforward show, so I'm going to be very straightforward with everyone about PXG. Fastest way to improve your performance on the golf course is to get yourself a PXG golf fitting. Go in there and let the experts help you.
I've been using PXG for a few years now, Scotty. They are perfect. I love the way they feel. They fit them perfectly to my swing. They weighted them, they put grips in them, they put shafts in them, they use their heads, and they fit my swing beautifully. They have definitely improved my game. They just recently hooked me up with their new Allen putter, which is off the chain. I was draining putts the other day, left and right. So I definitely say, go get your fitting at PXG. Nobody goes golf the way PXG does.
Yes, and for a limited time, you could save up to 20% on your entire order. Head over to pxg.com/foul. That's pxg.com/FOUL to save up to 20% on your entire order. pxg.com/foul. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
We are back. If you like the Phillies show, you can get a Phillies show t-shirt at thephilliesshow.com. Ruben, this weekend I was not in Cleveland. You were, but you're never far from my mind. So a couple of things here. I got something in the mail. Again, I'm getting more Ruben Amaro Jr. stuff. And a friend of the pod, Sixto, sends me something in the mail. Take a look at this. It's a Polaroid.
Oh my God.
Polaroid of you. Look at that signed Polaroid. I got a Ruben Amaro autograph.
Look at that sweater. What company was that? Remember that company?
Coogee, right? Wasn't it Coogee?
No, that wasn't a Coogee one. That was one that was owned by. There was like three that they had two.
Cavarici.
No. Well, I'll remember what it is. I'll remember it. I can't remember.
On the back of it,
It was a company that was owned by the people that owned Limited, but it was like a mentor of it.
You got that at Spencer's Gifts.
No.
Spencer's Gifts. So on the back of it, Ruben, it says Ruben Amaro, outfielder, Cleveland Indians, February 5th, 1994. What do you think? What was that? Why?
So I think I think I may have been traded at that point to Cleveland because in between the 93 and 94 season, I got traded for Heathcliff Slocum.
Yeah.
1-for-1. Heathcliff Slocum that was the most lopsided trade ever. Heathcliff became like an all-star that year for the Phillies. Had like 33 saves, and I had like 33 at bats.
At least you were a big leaguer.
That's all right. So thanks to Sixto for passing this photo along. This is great. And then Ruben, on Saturday night, I'm watching the game with my wife. The kids are kind of settling down, and they show you and T-Mac in the booth, and you guys are chit-chatting. And my wife Ryan goes, you have to ask Ruben a question for me the next time you see him. I go, well, I'm going to talk to him on Monday morning. She goes, his skin is amazing. There is not a wrinkle on him.
60 years old. 60 years old. Say exactly what I told my mom says. I just use soap and water. That's it. Soap and water.
That's what she wanted to know. She's like, you have to ask him what he does.
Soap and water, and then I throw a little. When I shave, I do a little oil of Olay. And yeah, I don't know, jeans. My dad and my mom. I mean, both of them look. My dad, when he passed, I mean, he looked like he was 60.
Well, that's what I was gonna. That's what I kind of told her.
Judy the same way. Very, very, very young looking. My mom's 81, going to be 82, and I mean, she looks really young. I'm very fortunate. My genes are carrying me.
That's what I said. I said, I remember Ruben's dad. He said that guy looked young as hell, man. He looked great for his age. So there you go. I wanted to pass. So I told her I would ask you, and I said, I'm asking him on the show on Monday. She goes, okay, you can ask him on the show. So there we go. Anyway, so Kyle Schwarber, guys, 2 home runs on Sunday night. He's had 14 home runs this season, which is tied with Aaron Judge for the lead in Major League Baseball. And his on-base streak is now extended to 46 games. It's the longest in Major League Baseball since Paul Goldschmidt's 46-game on-base streak in 2022. There has not been a longer one since Tommy Pham, 48 games, which spread over the 2018-2019 season. Kyle Schwarber, I mean, my goodness gracious. The 2 big home runs yesterday. He's been a stud. He's been keeping the train rolling for weeks.
He's awesome. He punishes baseballs. Absolutely punishes them. His hands are great. His hand-eye coordination is great. His bat speed is electric. I mean, he impacts the baseball so hard. His exit velocities are crazy. And he's on one of his great stretches. He's a streak hitter. And he's on one of these great stretches. Enjoy it. And the weather's getting warm. The weather is warm now, and they're coming home Monday night. He could be awfully fun to watch during this upcoming 6-game homestand for the Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to watch a veteran player seemingly get better and better, even at a later age.
Yeah.
I start thinking, not later age, but he's been in the league for a while. So I watched Mike Schmidt make adjustments over the course of his career. Lots of strikeouts early in his career. Later on, really worked on trying to use the whole field and make better contact, not strike out as much, and did. You sort of see that happening. And you're right. Kyle Schwarber will get into those modes where he'll swing and miss. But he's become a much more complete hitter. Obviously, tremendous numbers against lefties. It's insane what he's doing against left-handers.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was really super surprised that Heron even threw him a fastball. Why he would try to sneak a fastball past him with the breaking ball that the guy had was not very intelligent. But I mean, I'm happy he did it. But but it's just nice to watch this guy just become more complete. He flipped a couple balls to left. Not hit well. He had 2 of those kind of dink hits where he got beat by the pitch a little bit, but stayed on it long enough to give himself a chance to put it in play. He's way more complete hitter than even when he started with the Phillies, and it's fun to watch.
So I was thinking about this. You just kind of jogged my memory. You mentioned, mid-career, older guy, keeps getting better. So the guy was non-tendered. He was non-tendered, right, by the Cubs?
Yeah.
And since his non-tender, he's going to end up making because his next contract's going to be huge. He's going to end up making well over $200 million since being non-tendered because he continues. I mean, power is a premium skill in this game. And he keeps getting better, and he's a survivor, and he's just a great player in the clubhouse, between the lines. But since a low point of getting non-tendered by the team that brought you to the majors, he's going to end up signing. I think his first one-year deal was $10 million, then he got 79 from the Phillies, and his next one's going to be what, $150 million? That's pretty good.
Hey, who was the other? I mean, he sort of reminds me of the other DH that was non-tendered that became a
Martinez.
Incorrect.
JD, no.
His name is David Ortiz.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He was
Yeah,
non-tendered.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, by the Minnesota Twins.
Yeah, amazing.
It's funny.
The similarities.
Total similarities. In fact,
because they're both leaders, both left-handed hitters, both DHs, both with power, great people.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know if Kyle Schwarber could become a Hall of Famer, but my goodness, if he continues on this trajectory as far as his home runs and production and stuff like that over the next 4 or 5 years, and he's going to get a pretty lengthy contract with the way he's going. If he stays healthy, you never know.
Yeah, you said 298 career home runs. I mean, you could see if he stays healthy and that bat speed stays there. In fact, we've mentioned made the David Ortiz, Kyle Schwarber comparison on the show in the past. And Thursday afternoon in Tampa, I went over to Bryce Harper's locker, and I just asked him that. I said, hey, do you think with his bat speed and his eye and just his power, do you think he's got some Ortiz vibes, hitting into his late 30s, smashing home runs in his late 30s? And he agreed with that assessment. And this is going to be my Phillies Beat newsletter later today. I wrote about this, and he said, and then he started thinking about the future. And he goes, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, man, it would be weird not to have him in the clubhouse, referring to, free agency this offseason. So
It would.
it would be. He says he's such a good leader. He's such a great person in the community, great family, great person. I think he's a guy that obviously our team can build around. So he said a few more things about Kyle Schwarber. So check that out. But I wanted to mention that. I mean,
I also want to say another thing. I mean, it's really important that he's gotten himself with his lower half. Mm-hmm. For guys to have longevity, and I talked a lot to Carlos Santana about this. He sort of changed his diet and worked on his body and all these things. It's one of the reasons why Carlos for the Guardians is having so much success over the course of his career and playing so long. But the lower half, Kyle Schwarber's had some knee issues. He's had some hip stuff, but this year he's really healthy. And I think he really, concentrated on that in the off season to make sure, and during the season to make sure that his lower half is strong, because if it stays strong, he's going to be fine. One big power hitter for the Phillies, Ryan Howard, lost his ability because of the injuries that he had in his lower half to be the hitter that he could have been in the latter part of his career. And so that lower half stability is something that's really important.
He's in such great shape. I mean, every time I see an old Cubs video, I'm like, that's the same guy. This guy's older, 10 years older, or 8 years older, whatever it is.
Taking care of himself.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So, Kyle Schwarber, a fantastic series. He keeps doing it. Ranger Suarez on Saturday night pitched very well. Zack Wheeler, of course, on Sunday night in the series finale, he pitched very well. Ruben, what jumped out about those two guys? I mean, Ranger it was kind of weird after Ranger made his debut. I got, a couple people like, oh man, I don't know. Should we, should they move him into the bullpen, keep Taiwan? I'm like, it was one start. Everybody kind of pumped the brakes on one struggling start from Ranger Suarez, but
my only concern about Ranger was that he had never pitched really more than 5 innings in his rehab, and he had not really been built up. And so when he had that real short outing where he basically hit a wall, I know they talked about him, going into the stretch, but I just thought his stuff dropped off a little bit too, and his sharpness dropped off, and I was concerned about that. But he assuaged those issues by the way he threw this last time out. I mean, he was spectacular, very close. In fact, almost identical to what he was doing in the first 2 months of the season last year when he was the best pitcher in baseball for that stretch. I mean, what was he, 10-1 with like a 1-2 or something, some ridiculous numbers, and made was an all-star and all that other business. or what have you. So, I mean, I think it puts the Phillies in a position that is just so enviable because now you got 5 guys that you can basically rely on to keep you in the game every single night. And when you have that, and maybe 6, if you
Maybe
start
6.
to count, and you start to count with
Painter
Taiwan.
Painter gets here.
Yeah, I mean 7. Nick Abel's throwing well. I mean,
Really well.
it's really interesting, and I guarantee you there are teams all over this land, including the Dodgers, including all the other, super teams, the Yankees. I guarantee you they would love to have this starting staff and the other 2 that are still sitting out, 2 or 3 that are sitting out there waiting their turn.
We talked about this last time. If they, come August, they could go, July, August, they could be 6 deep in that rotation if they're all effective, all pitching well, and most importantly, all healthy. And I know those are factors you have to consider. I mean, they could be going 6+ deep and have bullpen options for October, some quite intriguing. It's a good position to be. You win with pitching. I don't care what anybody says. And got to stay healthy. I think, people talk about, Ranger in the bullpen. I think his best role is as a starting pitcher because of the way he changes speeds, because of the way he locates. I think that's it. And he's not going to, blow you away on the gun, though. He's plenty firm. I like him right in the rotation. It was very, very encouraging to see the way he spotted it and he changed speeds on Saturday.
And Ruben, you mentioned Mick Abel. Just looking at his numbers, he 1 run, 7 innings on Saturday for AAA Lehigh Valley. His last 4 starts, he's only allowed 1 run in each of those starts.
Amazing.
7 innings, 6 innings, 5 innings, 7 innings. So it isn't one of those, we're pulling him out after 4 innings, 5 innings every single time and protecting him. But yeah, he's been good. You think about maybe, I think Jim, you said in the last episode, he might be giving, not creating just trade value, but Phillies value if they need him at some point. And man, that's something to think about. But yeah, Wheeler was fun to watch on Sunday night. And the cool what I like watching with Zack is, obviously in the last game in Tampa, I think it was, he had the fastball working. He was letting that thing eat. And then last night he had, his fastball was fine, but he was throwing a lot of splitters, cutters, curveballs, so you're kind of mixing that up. Usually it's sweeper sinkers, behind the 4-seamer, but he kind of moves things around based on how he's feeling. And just watching him pitch like a pitcher with great stuff is just fun. I mean, it makes him one of the best in the game. So.
Yeah, it's a joy. I mean, he went, and it's the great ones can do this. I mean, when he's got 6 different pitches, but he knows if something's not working, he can go to something else.
Yeah.
And if he sees a flaw in a certain guy's swing, he's like, "Oh, this guy's hits breaking balls really well, but he's not going to hit this breaking ball." And especially, I'm going to go with my strength because I know I can get this guy. Or if I know this guy's looking for something off speed, I can blow him away with some high cheese. I mean, he can do so many different things right now, and he's the best starting pitcher in baseball. There's no question in my mind that he is the guy that I want on the mound when I have to win a baseball game.
And of course, last
Paul Skeens, great stuff, great pitcher. He's going to be phenomenal. You can talk about all types of different guys. I mean, Turek Skubal, phenomenal. He's really great. I'll take Zack Wheeler.
I was watching Skubal the other day. The way he gets through the ball,
Yeah,
it stays on plane.
Yeah.
It is very impressive.
It's outstanding.
Guys, it's Monday. It is time for Manco and Mango Best Week. Manco and Mango Best Week, because Manco is the best of the best. It's where we pick our Phillies player, performance, play of the week, of this past week. Ruben, why don't you lead us off?
Yeah, I'm boring. I'll go with the Schwarbs. Okay. I mean, the Schwarbarian has just been amazing. That's all I need to say. Schwarber, Kyle Schwarber.
Give him some pie.
Yeah.
Give him like a whole half of the pie. Maybe the whole pie.
He's definitely worthy of it.
You
You know,
might be
he's,
with those two individuals. Give him two individuals.
yeah, seriously. I think since the beginning of the 2022 season, he's now second in baseball in home runs. I think Judge has 171 and Schwarber has 145. Ohtani is third with 144. So
Judge needs to play in a different league. Okay, he's in 5A, and then the rest of the guys can play in the major leagues.
unbelievable, man. Kyle Schwarber. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Jim, you want to go? Should I throw it out? I'll throw mine out there.
Yeah, go ahead. You take the second slab.
Mine's a little off the beaten path, but I thought it was noteworthy. It's kind of like a week and a day or two, so I'm kind of cheating on this one. But I'm going to say Brandon Marsh.
Ooh.
And here's why I'm saying Brandon Marsh. Brandon Marsh comes off the IL last 2 Saturdays ago. He's in an 0 for 31 slump. So he comes off the IL. He's like, I got an 0 for 31 going right now. It was like this 8th longest hitless streak by a non-pitcher, Phillies non-pitcher since 1974. He goes out in his first at-bat. Remember that he rips that double down to the line in the right field corner, gets off the schneid that way. And since then, he is batting .467, 7 for 15, 3 doubles, 3 RBIs, a walk, OPS over 1100. He had the go-ahead double in the 10th inning on Thursday night in Tampa. Hits it to the opposite way. And I went back and I looked at all 7 of his hits. 2 singles and a double to left and left center field.
Nice. 2
singles up the middle. And the 2 other doubles he pulled down in the right field corner. So you see a guy that was, I think, it felt like he was trying to pull everything the first, up until he went on the IL. It just seemed all out of sorts. Rob Thompson said he had spoken to him about trying to hit the ball the opposite way. He comes back from the IL, and again, 5 of his 7 hits are the opposite way. And so all of a sudden that hole that has been center field, you have Johan Rojas playing a little better. You have Brandon Marsh playing a little better. And Rob Thompson said last week that he's going to kind of work these guys in, give them a day off, day in, day off, day in, day off. And I kind of had planned out the next, whatever it was. He said 12 games. So, that's again, that hole in center field is providing them some production right now at the bottom of the lineup. And that's huge because you're not going to have everybody hitting every single night. So Brandon Marsh, slice of the Manco.
Mm-hmm.
There you
Good
go.
call. Nice call.
Very good call. I'm gonna give a slice of the Manco to Jordan Romano. This is a guy who comes into town as a significant off-season signing. First time, he had only been with Toronto and now he's with a new team, and you want to make an impression, and he goes out there and he makes a pretty disappointing impression. And when you come in and struggle in a new city, you can crater and it can bring you down. And he hasn't done that. He's really bounced back. Last 5 outings, 0 runs, 5 straight scoreless outings. And even more importantly, and maybe the reason behind that, 5 straight outings with no walks. Gets the final 3 outs on Sunday night in Cincinnati, like in a breeze. So he looks really good. So if you can, back-to-back him and Alvarado, all of a sudden now you've got 2 closers. And, at the deadline, I think they're going to be looking relief. If you can even bring in another back-end leverage, a guy with experience, guy who's closed, you are starting to build a team that can do damage in the big games.
It's a huge development for this team. There's a lot of concern about the bullpen. Really struggled out of the chute. Still not out of the woods yet as far as their consistency.
No.
But my goodness, even guys like Carlos Hernandez is throwing better. I mean, he's gaining some confidence. You start to see some guys starting to get going. And that's really important, but especially in the back end, man, you got to have the right-handers step forward. Kirkering needs to get his act together and be a little bit more consistent with his stuff. But that Romano thing is an important one for the fight. Great call, Jim. You're right about that. The psyche of a player coming to a new ball club. I mean, you make a great point because there's so many who can crumble, and he hasn't done it, and he's bounced back nicely.
Could have lost him. I mean, I'm not saying he's never going to have another bad game because, late game leverage guys, they go out and they have a shaggy dog once in a while. It's how you pick yourself up.
Some people like shaggy dogs, Jim.
Oh, well, I like a shaggy dog. But you know what I mean? A shaggy, smelly dog.
Oh, yeah.
Like a bad outing. Right, that happens.
Stinks. Yeah, you don't want that.
I was looking at Kenley Jansen's numbers the other day. He's been gone forever. I expect him to be he's kind of an annual trade candidate. He's had this he's got like a high ERA because he had one outing where he gave up 6 in like a third of an inning. And all the rest of it is like 12 or 13 outings, zeros, 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 zeros. It's going to happen. And then you got to pick yourself up.
Right. Well, he's got to keep an eye on. You never know.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on him.
Yeah. So Phillies open a 6-game homestand Monday night, 3 against the Cardinals, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're off on Thursday. And then Friday is the Pittsburgh Pirates rolling to town. I think Paul Skeens is scheduled to pitch on Monday night in New York.
Yeah.
That would put him on turn to pitch Sunday's series finale at Citizens Bank Park. Jim, you mentioned Phillies keeping their eye out for another high leverage reliever. You wrote something today, right? PHLY.com. They might see a couple of those guys this week.
I mean, you got the Cardinals coming in and you got the Pirates coming in, and both of those teams, have leverage arms in their bullpen, late game experienced guys. Ryan Helsley could be a guy on the move. I know the Cardinals have won 8 in a row. Maybe they get into it. Maybe they hold on to him. Who knows? But going to be a free agent. Definitely a guy to keep your eye on. And that David Bednar has been an all-star closer for the Pirates. I know he has struggled the last 2 seasons, but he's sort of getting it together. And I look at a guy like that who's still high 90s, who is experienced at the back of games. And I look at the work Caleb Cotham has done, scrubbing up, making guys better, and Caleb Cotham and his group of pitching coaches. And I wonder. I think they're different classes of reliever. Helsley is kind of elite, and Bednar is, middling at this point, but he's been elite in the past. Two names to keep an eye on, because I think if you could acquire a late game leverage arm, who can pitch in 7, 8, or 9, who's been there, who's done that in the cauldron of pennant races, you're gonna really help this team. I think that's going to be their I think it's their current need, and I think it's going to be their deadline need. So we'll see.
Well, Jim, looking at Bednar's numbers, so you talk about Kenley Jansen. So Bednar's first 2 appearances this season, he gave up 3 earned runs in 1 inning.
And he got sent to the minors. But you know how mercurial relievers are. I mean, the Phillies sent Jose Alvarado to the minors a few years ago. It came back better. The Phillies sent Hector Neris to the minors a few years ago. All based on performance. He came back better. These are the type of guys who move at the deadline and give you, a few good months, and they get with your coaches and a guy like Bednar under control next year, you might have some. So these are just guys, and there's a lot of them, just guys to keep an eye on, because I think that's their big need.
Yeah, and in his last 11 appearances, he has allowed 2 earned runs in his last 11 appearances. So he seems to be throwing the ball better. Yeah, but that's something to keep an eye on. Maybe see some future Phillies relievers in the bullpen. So you never know.
We'll be scouting him.
Yeah, we'll be scouting him. That's right.
I'll be scouting.
Yeah,
my area.
That's you have a lot of areas you need to scout.
That's true. I'm an area scout. Well, a lowly area scout.
Real lowly area scout. Guys, we will be back later this week, maybe midweek, talk about this Cardinals series.
Cardinals are good, man. They've won 8 in a row.
It's not a pushover. I'm not
they weren't even supposed to contend. Like, they got a transition kind of thing going on in the front office. They're not drawing like the Cardinals, and all of a sudden they won 8 in a row. That's what I will call a dangerous club coming to town.
I do like the fact that they're coming in with an 8-game winning streak, though, because at some point you're going to go.
Maybe they
go that way.
Phillies are playing well. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
We'll be back later this week. Thanks, guys.
All right. Smell you later, boys.
Oh, yeah, Jim.
The Philly Show is brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Subscribe to The Philly Show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. If you like us, give us a review. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, and Threads. Find Ruben's analysis before, during, and after Phillies games on NBC Sports Philadelphia, on the Sports Radio 94 WIP Morning Show, and MLB Network. Find Jim at allphly.com. Find me at MLB.com, the Phillies Beat newsletter, and MLB Network.